Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshulmilitan Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa-kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapad-kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Sri Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha namaha om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are studying chapter number 10, the words of caution. Caution is always required when we follow in footsteps of our predecessor acharyas. Now they are termed as Brijvasis. And those were highly in depressed of their spiritual life. This are the Goswamis, how they have behaved and set up the standard of executing the internal bhajan. This is our caution. If we deviate from their path, then there is no fun in exhibiting the internal bhajan. There is no reason. What to speak, people are so much entrapped in following the charismatic sadhus, giving up this line, and that becomes very questionable. We talked of Premananda Baba like that. And do you think that we have to follow him? We saw the Apasampradaya even tend to become so deviated from the tutelage. We saw that Hita Harivansh was the disciple of our
Gopala Bhatta Goswami Maharaj.
Gopala Bhatta Goswami. And he created a Sahajiya tendency, and he was out of that. So naturally, Radha Vallabhi Sampradaya, and that now this new figure, all of a sudden, which was not linked with Sahajiya Sampradaya from the beginning, took advantage to become popular by connecting himself through a pujari of Radha Vallabha. So it is right. It is not fair that we follow the deviations, and that is the tendency that we have to be very, very careful. That even though spiritual life is a private life, it cannot be followed under vox populi. They call it vox populi, to follow blindly behind some charismatic figure. So it is happening even today. So naturally, we see that instead of cultivating a systematic, disciplined, the internal bhajan, people don't care. So these are the, say, pitfalls in the practice of Raganuga Bhakti. And this kind of expression is supported by Srila Prabhupada, so it is in the ISKCON that we must take heed to it. So this last two chapters that we'll be studying, it is entitled Words of Caution and Summary. So, yeah. Our method to, deepen our desire for the greed of love of Godhead in any relationships is Nama Sankirtan. And Nam Sankirtan has been extolled by Swarup Damodar Goswami, who said, Anarpita charim chirata karuna maya avatirna kalau samarpayitam unnatojjvala rasam swabhakti sriyam. Harihi purata sundara dyati kadamba sandipitaha. Sada hridaya kandare spuratav vah sachinandana. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachidevi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant mellows of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. Swarup Damodar Goswami is writing very, very poignantly and That explanation has been given in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, first chapter, 4th verse is there. So, if we have to develop the internal bhajan, and Chaitanya Charitamrita and its guidance is good enough. Hmm. Yet even in the Lord's presence, pseudo devotees and academicians began to hide the truth of his teachings, a mischief that gained further traction after Lord Chaitanya's disappearance. Very quickly, a shroud of ignorance settled over the world, a shroud that only the preaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates and followers could eradicate. With the mission of the Lord in mind, Acharyas from Rupa Goswami to Srila Prabhupada worked tirelessly to write books on and preach the path of pure devotion. Their similarly pure teachings emphasize that detachment from all that is material and chanting in the mood of separation were criteria for spontaneous devotion that led to Radha Krishna and their associates. This is the process that we have to follow very rigidly. This paragraph is based on the concluding words of Harinama Chintamani. Yeah. The Acharya also warned of these pitfalls that practitioners should encounter in sadhana bhakti in general and raganuga bhakti in particular. They cautioned devotees on the philosophical misconceptions, deviant practices, and the sahajiyas who embraced both. Although greed is undeniable qualification for raganuga sadhana, because it is an internal emotion that is not so easily distinguished from the interest in or a false exhibition of raga. To identify whether greed has truly appeared, scriptures and acharyas have highlighted other accompanying qualities that visibly indicate its presence. Vidur states that a symptom of covetousness is indifference to anything that is not related to pure devotional service. In other words, the taste for Vraja Bhakti appears where there is no taste for some for sense gratification. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 5th chapter, 13th verse. In the same way, Jiva Goswami concludes his dissertation on Raganuga Bhakti by saying, Kintu rahasya leela tu paurusha vikarvad indriyehi pitra putra dasa bhavati bhavaischa nopasya. That the devotee who confirms to feel the presence of the enjoying spirit of male feeling, paurusha vikara, should not contemplate the pastimes of Radha Krishna, meaning they lack the qualification for doing so. This is the quotation in Bhakti Sandarbha, 3rd chapter, 38th verse. This particular Jiva Goswami's quotation is extremely important. That when you think of Radha Krishna pastimes, the Paurusha Vikara, that is enjoying spirit of sex, should not come. Should not come. So finally, we should recall the Raganuga Bhakti dependence on remembering Krishna and his associates. Krishnam smarana janam chayasya. Again, this is the reference that what should we do? This is in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, 2nd chapter, 294th verse. But the constant remembrance is possible only when the heart has been sufficiently purified through regulated devotional service. Where such qualification is absent, meditation on Krishna Leela will be fragmented and unproductive. In such circumstance, the sadhak will make better use of his time and effort to intensify, concentrate on Vaidhi Bhakti in order to achieve the prerequisite purity of the heart. In such a case, we have to start all over through following the tenets of Vaidhi Bhakti. Srila Prabhupada and his predecessors were all concerned that sadhaka who are attracted by the service of Brijvasis not identify themselves as being that particular Brijvasi. Rupa Goswami's emphasis is always being a follower of Vraja Lokanusarartha. Lokanusarataha. This is also in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, 295th verse. Our identity as Krishna's servant is eternal, and so is that of his associates. Therefore, it is doubly artificial to try and adapt the identity of one of Krishna's dear companions. So, even if our identity being Jivira Swarupa or Nitya Krishna Das, Krishna Tatashta Shakti Veda Prakash, as Krishna's eternal servant, and so that is of his associates also. Therefore, it is doubly artificial to try to adapt the identity of one of Krishna's dear companions. Since the attempt to become Nanda Maharaj, for example, is just like the attempt by some Gyanis to become Krishna, this ideology is Mayavad and against the principles of pure devotion. Another pitfall that Acharyas repeatedly warn us about imitating the activities of Brajavasis in one's sadhak deha, meaning transporting activities of mind to bodily actions. For example, the gopi worship the sun god and the goddess Kali. Vaishnavas, however, should not worship demigods. Krishna has instructed Arjun that such conduct is not befitting those learned in devotion. Antavantu phalam tesham tat bhavatyam alpamethasam. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Bhagavad Gita quotes there. 7th chapter, 23rd verse. Then Gopal Bhatta Goswami's incident and situation is coming. The Brajavasis do not follow Ekadashi, do not worship Shalagram Shilas, and do not formally take initiation. We in this world cannot mimic their conduct. This has been told that worship of Shalagram Shilas is an element of regulated devotion, and so some devotees mistakenly think that such service to the Lord is against the mood of spontaneous devotion, bhava pratikula, and should be rejected. However, Lord Chaitanya himself ordered Gopal Bhatta Goswami to worship these sacred stones. Therefore, such worship is an acceptable part of Gaudiya Vaishnava practice. All right. Rather, as Rupa Goswami has instructed, we must follow the conduct of Vrajavasis in their sadhaka form. For example, Gopala Bhatta Goswami is the sadhak form of Gunamanjari and Anangamanjari. Yet he accepted initiation from Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, who worshipped Shalagram Shila under Lord Chaitanya's order and meticulously followed the vow of Ekadashi. Practicing devotees are meant to follow the conduct of such Mahajanas or risk becoming ostracized from the community of pure devotees, as one Hita Harivansha at the time of Goswamis of Vrindavan. He was contemporary and that contemporary aspect generally sold to impress right. So that reference is as of today also. This is said to be Harivansa was a disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. However, when his heterodoxical practices of chewing betel nuts and abstaining from Ekadashi came to light, his guru rejected him for imitating the behavior of Brajavasis. Thereafter, Hita Harivansa became even more deviant and was shunned by the Goswamis of his times as his lineage today. The most obvious form of transgression can be seen in Vrindavan today, where some pseudo-Vaishnavas dressed like Vrajvasis. These are men who dress as gopis, mistakenly thinking that this oversimplification of following a Vrajvasi gains them entrance into Krishna Lila. I gave the example of one SSP, police superintendent, gave up his position and service and became lured to become the gopi. So immediately he gave up what they call vardi. Vardi means the dress of the policeman, and accepted chunni and odni of a gopi, and begs money in Barsana. So, on the contrary, they remain materially grounded, laughing stocks of the sane, and a blight to the Vaishnava community. They are undisputed Prakrita Sahajiya. Practitioners are warned not to imitate the Vrajvasis in that way, lest they too degrade to such absurd conduct. Devotees can never interchange the external conduct of the sadhaka rupa and internal activities of siddha rupa. So next hazard for practicing devotee is to reject scriptures or to reject following the principles of regulated devotion recommended in the scriptures. Just because Raganuga Bhakti is inspired not by scriptural injunction but by natural attraction does not mean devotees are not under the guidance of scriptures. To the contrary, the path of spontaneity is set out in the scriptures alone. When Srila Prabhupada makes statement like, these Raganuga devotees do not follow the regulative principles of devotion service very strictly, it doesn't mean to say that Raganuga devotees can pick and choose regulated principles, ignoring them at will. This reference is of Nectar of Devotion, chapter number 6. Rather, His Divine Grace refers to shunning those practices that are unfavorable for spontaneous devotion, bhava pratikula, ignoring them. Or as the elements of Dharma Shastra, like obligation to one's forefathers and rejecting details of Pancharatriki with standards, as in the case of laying down in the temple in ecstasy. These are forbidden. Ignoring injunction of the morality are expressed in the verse beginning with Devani Bhutapta Devarshi Bhutapta Nranam Pitrunam, which states that anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligations, and has taken the path of all seriousness, owes neither duty nor obligation to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. This is cited in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, 4 to 1st verse. Srila Prabhupada gives an example of lying down before the deity in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 11. So, that is also the pitfall. Pitfall. Given that there are valid reasons to neglect certain regulated practices, neither those qualified nor those unqualified to do so make much ado about their exceptional conduct. It should remain a confidential affair in keeping with the principles established by the Lord. Naitat parasmat akhyayetam preshthyayapi tathanchana sarvam sampadete devi devaguhyam susamrutam. Oh lady, even if someone inquires, you should not disclose this fact to anyone. That which is very confidential is successful if kept secret. That is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 17th chapter, 20th verse. Aside from the example above, Raganuga sadhakas and perfected devotees alike follow the edicts of regulated devotional service so as to set a proper example for others. Even Krishna, who is far beyond regulatory obligations, embraces this principle himself and expects his devotees to do the same. That is, yadyadacharate sreshta tatta evitero jana sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. Whatever actions a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he set by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. This is in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 21st to 26 verses, the series of verses, which Krishna lauds those who set an example for the benefit of those who are not qualified, mature in Krishna consciousness. Devotees must remain faithful to the codes of proper conduct prescribed by scriptures. If they are neglectful, they will degrade to the level of those sahajiyas who smoke intoxicants and engage in illicit sex, on the reasoning that the only sin for Raganuga devotees is Vaishnava Aparad. Need we say any more about such fallacies? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur further elaborates on some misconception held by would-be Raganuga Bhaktas who lack the most fundamental understanding of devotional service. Since the foundation of the spiritual advancement is transcendental knowledge, devotee must be well versed in the teachings of the scriptures. Reference to the context of the scriptures are therefore essential, that we follow the scriptures. Do not say something whimsically. An understanding of one's relationship with Krishna, Sambandha Gyan, is essential to qualify one for cultivating the relationship. And sadhana means cultivation. Therefore, without Sambandha Gyan, there is no question of Raganuga Bhakti. Sambandha Gyan means knowledge about the relationship with Lord Krishna that has been enunciated when name-giving ceremony during the first initiation has been implied. Initiation means the beginning. It starts from the Sambandha Gyan. That Jivira Swarupa Hoir Nitya Krishna Das. And this Nitya Krishna Das has been given the name. Although it is stating the obvious engagement in the appropriate limb of sadhana to integral to Raganuga Bhakti, yet there appears to be a class of sahajas who propose that once one has greed for Krishna, although it is hard to believe, they do. One is not obliged to do any sadhana. Then there is another class of sahajas who argue that sadhana need not to be the standard. Obviously, such concocted ideas lead to anywhere except Goloka. So yet another neophyte devotee make the mistake of equating belief in or knowledge of Raganuga Bhakti with greed. Alternatively, they think that by declaring themselves to the followers of Rajavasis, they become qualified practitioners. Worse still are devotees who have not gone past the stage of offensive chanting, but who thinks that by remembering or speaking about Krishna Gopi Lila, they will become free of lust and be blessed with their Swarupa. Wishful thinking. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj says, Na uthiya vrikshopari phala dharitane na raganuga karma patha vilopatar karena. Just as intelligent people never climb onto a tree to pick unripe fruits, knowing that all the fruits naturally ripen in season, the followers of Rupa Goswami never make efforts to artificially awaken greed or stimulate their Siddharupa. For they know that the systematic progression of pure devotional service reveals and matures all aspects of Raganuga Bhakti without efforts. This is what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj said, and we heard yesterday also. The Prakrita Rasa Satadushani, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, verse number 57, that translates that just as intelligent people never climb into a tree to pick up unripe fruits, knowing that all fruits naturally ripen in season, the followers of Rupa Goswami never makes effort to artificially awaken greed or stimulate their Siddharupa. For they know that the systematic progression of pure devotional service reveals and matures all aspects of Raganuga Bhakti without effort. This is the fundamental aspect of following Rupa Goswami as Brijbasi, that whatever he said in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a gradual step for increment. It cannot be jumped. So, before Raganuga Bhakti, the Vaidhi Bhakti has to be mastered, and cannot jump into the raga or attachment to one particular type. We have to know everything. I hope this is clear, that how to generate greed. It cannot be done artificially. It will naturally come as a step of development. So, to jump up from sadhana bhakti to, Vaidhi bhakti to Raganuga bhakti, there is a natural progression when one should not be so anxious to develop the greed for Raganuga bhakti. We are touching this subject that this system is existing, but there are so many careful curves that we have to follow. So just like the sharp curves, if you go fast, the natural imbalance in our vehicle will topple the vehicle rather than smooth gliding. Even materially, we have to ply or drive very carefully. We can't speed up artificially to reach fast. It's danger. So, a common misconception among the people in general, one that is fed by unscrupulous impersonators, is that Raganuga Bhaktas should always be absorbed in their Swarupa and saying Krishna Lila. But these expectations are the stuff of fantasy and not the reality of devotional science. The mode of separation taught by Lord Chaitanya is different and truly spiritual experience. Even the most advanced devotees, such as Rupa Goswami, do not claim to see Krishna Lila. Rather, they cry after service to the divine couple. And in that mood of separation, they sometimes realize their identity. Then all too soon they return to the external consciousness and to their identity as sadhak, in whose heart a hankering for service again flares up like a sacrificial fire fed with ghee. Srila Prabhupada would quote the following verse as evidence of the mood and vision of the real transcendentalist. हे राधे व्रज देवी के चललिते हे नंद सुनो कुतः श्री गोवर्धन कल्प पाद पतले कालिंदी वने कुतः गोष्ठावैति सर्वतो व्रजपुरे खेदैर महाविहवलौ वंदे रूप सनातन रघुयगौ श्री जीव गोपाल गौ. I offer my respectful obeisances to the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, and Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatt Goswami, who were chanting very loudly everywhere in Vrindavan, shouting, Queen of Vrindavan, Radharani, O Lalita, O son of Nanda Maharaj, where are you all now? Are you just on the hill of Govardhan, or are you under the tree on the bank of Yamuna? Where are you? This were their mood in executing Krishna consciousness. This is an important reference that we should always think as a proper guide. This has been in Sad Goswami Astak 8th verse. To conclude on this, those who claim to be always seeing Krishna's pastime should be known as impostors, self-deluded cheaters who are far away from the path of Raganuga sadhana. Prabhupada would not talk of any Radha Krishna Leela. We are not supposed to deal with each and every aspect of 10th canto's description of Sukha. We have to understand, but unless and until our lust of material nature is not eradicated, we cannot disclose in general public even. Prabhupada refrained to talk about Radha Krishna Leela. People are anxious to know, but they are having the immature tendency. But those who are sadhaks, serious, for the reason that exposes our immaturity, we talk only on the principles, but not in the details of somebody's experiences. So, another impropriety to which aspiring Raganuga Bhaktas succumb in questioning the process of devotional maturation that Srila Prabhupada bestowed upon ISKCON. In their newfound interest in spontaneous devotion, neophytes sometimes express doubt at the absence of higher topics being discussed in ISKCON, such as Krishna's Vraja Leela or Rasa Tattva. When devotees take such doubts out into the public domain, they reveal their own disqualifications for Raganuga Bhakti and incur an ire of the founder Acharya for causing disturbance in the society. Spontaneous devotional service is never meant to be the topic of public debate. It is a personal affair that devotees practice under the guidance of a qualified guru. Commenting in this regard, Kaviraj Goswami writes that the readers should relish this wonderful nectar because nothing compares to it, this Krishna's pastimes. Keeping their faith firmly fixed within their minds, they should be careful not to fall into the pit of the false arguments or whirlpools of unfortunate situations. If one falls into such position, he is finished. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is telling in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 25th chapter, 279th verse. So, these cautions are very well practiced in ISKCON. Devotees who are simply inclined to talk on Rasa Tattva of Srimad Bhagavatam or simply cultivating the aptitude to talk only on Chaitanya Leela. This coming in the form of even classes on Srimad Bhagavatam. It becomes an objection. to enter into such intricate pastimes. There were examples of some devotees. They have to be reprimanded to not to continue this kind of, reading in public in general, or in a group of devotees where the mixed nature of immaturity and at the same time having inclination to understand the deeper topics, they have been forbidden. They have to understand that what kind of audience is there to give your class. You have to understand what kind of audience. And therefore, the deviation could be on self-aggrandizement. Oh, I'm a good speaker, I must talk. It is in my mind, I cannot hold not to utter these things that I am realizing. Oh, let me vomit it out anywhere and everywhere. That's not a good indication of advanced devotee. One should be reserved. I gave you often the example of Srila Prabhupada, that on the occasions like Radha Ashtami, Prabhupada would not talk about Radharani as Gopi, the chief of the gopis. Rather, he will explain that she is the internal potency of Lord Krishna. The potency can be described, but the personality of potency and her activities cannot be described. Otherwise, people will think that she is an ordinary Vrajavasi girl. No. The devotees should have faith in Srila Prabhupada's perfect vision for facilitating devotees across a full spectrum of spiritual states in ISKCON. Spiritual taste in ISKCON, they are there. There is no need to introduce anything new. Rather, we must follow the path set for us by the great devotees. Mahajanasya yena gatasya pantha. We may be convinced of the fallacies of premature and imitative attempts of Raganuga Bhakti and of Srila Prabhupada's perfect formula for raising us to real spontaneous devotion. But what is the formula exactly, and how does it accommodate devotee at different levels of advancement and with different spiritual tastes? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami answers with a beautiful elaboration on Rupa Goswami's Seva Sadhaka Rupena verse. He explains how by keeping Lord Chaitanya in their hearts while remembering Krishna's nectarian pastimes, devotees of every aspiration who follow Lord Chaitanya's teachings and serve his mission will live together in harmony and savor bliss in their siddha forms. There is no difference between Chaitanya Lila and Krishna Lila. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, that Seva Sadhaka Rupena verse that Rupa Goswami explains, that how by keeping Lord Chaitanya in their hearts while remembering Krishna's nectarian pastimes, devotees of every aspiration who follow Lord Chaitanya's teachings and serve his mission will live together in harmony and savor bliss in their Siddha forms. No wonder the true followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because of outside influence, can deviate, and so many apasampradayas have been listed. They fall off from the true path of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's indication. One should not start participating in a premature situation, a role of this particular Manjari. Oh, I'm following group of Manjari. Oh, I'm following this. No. One can develop lalasa, doesn't mean you enter into imitating the leelas directly. No. Full straight in so quickly where the angels fear to trade. With all humility, I submit myself to the lotus feet of all of you devotees, taking the dust from your feet as my bodily ornaments. Now, my dear devotees, please hear one thing more from me. These were the quotes from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 25th chapter, 272 to 279 verses. Devotional service to Krishna is exactly like pleasing a jubilant forest of lotus flowers, wherein there is ample honey. I request everyone to taste this honey. If all the mental speculators bring the bees of their minds into this forest of lotus flowers and jubilantly enjoy ecstatic love of Krishna day and night, their mental speculation will be completely transcendently satisfied. The devotees who have a relationship with Krishna are like the swans and chakravak birds who play in the forest of lotus flowers. The birds of lotus flowers are the pastimes of Krishna, and they are edibles for the swan-like devotees. And Lord Krishna is always engaged in the transcendental pastimes, and therefore the devotees following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can always eat those lotus birds, for they are the pastimes of the Lord. This is highly poetic, but a very humble way to request. All the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should go to that lake and remain always under the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, become swans and chakravak birds in those celestial waters. They should go on rendering service to Lord Krishna and enjoy life perpetually. In this way, all the miseries will be diminished. The devotees will attain greater happiness and they will be jubilant love of God. The devotees who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes the responsibility for distributing nectarian devotional service all over the world. They are like clouds pouring water on the grounds that nourishes the fruit of love of Godhead in this world. The devotees eat that fruit to their heart's content, and whatever remnants they live are eaten by the general populace, thus they live happily. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are full of nectar, and pastimes of Lord Krishna are like camphor. When one mixes this, they taste very sweet. By the mercy of the pure devotee, whoever tastes them can understand the depths of that sweetness. No wonder in sweet rice, camphor is mixed only by Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Others don't. They do not know what is this recipe all about of sweet rice mixed with camphor. Because it's an example. So whenever they eat such sweet rice, they will be mindful that we are supposed to meditate on Chaitanya Leela that will expose us to Krishna Leela. But we have to remain under the shelter of our Gaudiya Vaishnavism, strict following, not loose following. Prabhupada wanted to start the Krishna consciousness movement apart from Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And he followed strictly in the rules and regulations. And ISKCON is overwhelmed by the rules and regulations. But they are essential. Nobody wants to bother in other sampradayas or apasampradayas or anywhere. So unless and until we take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared in the Panchatattva form to exhibit his Leela, which is non-different from Krishna Leela, it gives us guaranteed that upon maturity, things will be clear. So we have to be very strictly following our rules and regulations, can't compromise with it, can't be allured by imitation of those who are not following the pure Gaudiya Vaishnava. You may hear voluntarily applauding Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission in a limited way. But these people who are even from apasampradayas, when they speak good of Srila Prabhupada, we have to have a caution. We can't follow blindly. People sell Prabhupada to make their profit. Haven't you seen this in Loi Bazaar of Vrindavan? Everyone will keep Srila Prabhupada's photo. Welcome, welcome, but they are not following Srila Prabhupada. We should not criticize them openly, but we should understand that they are pseudo followers. I have even heard Brijvasi, so-called Brijvasis, they say, you are not helping us to make our life successful. Prabhupada did. Then what will you make out of it? Prabhupada opened the market for us. And you can see, even at the ire and anger towards these looters of Vrindavan and making profits on the devotees who are simply greedy to get their work done by somebody else, allurement. You remember this incident in Mumbai? Srila Prabhupada was handling the money himself from the BBT, and some of this money would go for payment for both the construction in Mumbai and some settlement for Vrindavan too. One day, one devotee brought the bill from Vrindavan, and Prabhupada immediately got frowned seeing that bill. It was hardly about 3,000 rupees at that time, but it was more in eyes of Srila Prabhupada. So he said, "What is this?" Then he said, "Oh, this is the bill of some Mukutwala and this and that." And Prabhupada got so much angry. Why are you going and purchasing from them? Where are our ladies? They can be taught to do similar artwork. What are they doing? And you can understand. I'm not going to pay, Prabhupada said. They rip you off. You are ignorant people. Why should I pay? I'm not supposed to pay. And Prabhupada really, with the strong words, indicated that artificial dependency on the Brijvasis, this so-called business people in Vrindavan, creates an imbalance. But our eyes are not opening. We want to jump into devotional service rather than create our own, artistic applications and creating such an enterprise within our own. But some people do on the basis of modern day pricing of their artistic ways. So it becomes a business. Serving Lord Shri Krishna by artistic decorations, and that goes. It's a good meditation, but with the aim of profit, then devotional service will be counted also in the same, transaction. That instead of getting love of Krishna, love of money becomes more predominant. So these are the kind of pitfalls that is created by avoiding Srila Prabhupada's instructions. So many temples now become self-sufficient on this issue by creating their own manufacturing units. Ujjain started, Mayapur started, so many people started. But in Vrindavan, I don't think we are making our own. Even though so many international talents come, they do wonderful dressing, but our Pujari department does not depend upon them only.
No, but they're getting more and more, Gurmaj. We're getting quite a lot now done by our own devotees.
Yes, they are increasing towards the end, but still individual devotees are fulfilling or are filling the pockets of those mukutwalas. If that is the business, why not we do our own transactions? Anyway, men become strong and stout by eating sufficient grains, but the devotee who simply eats only grains but does not taste the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna gradually becomes weak and falls down from the transcendental position. However, if one drinks but a drop of nectar of Krishna's pastimes, his body and mind begins to bloom and he begins to laugh, sing and dance. The reader should relish this wonderful nectar because nothing compares to it. Keeping their faith firmly fixed within their mind, they should be careful not to fall into the pit of false arguments or the whirlpools of unfortunate situations. If one falls into such position, he is finished. Commenting, Srila Prabhupada says that the essence of knowledge is that Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are identical with the pastimes of Lord Krishna. This has been emphasized several times. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 25th chapter, 271 verse. This means that Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are sadhaka rupa, counterpart of Krishna's pastimes, which are also fully directly manifest in Lord Chaitanya's siddha rupa pastimes. Appropriately following both Krishna and Lord Chaitanya nurtures practicing devotees should to the maturity of their devotion. Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are sadhaka rupa, and they are counterpart of Krishna's pastimes. They are fully manifest in Lord Chaitanya's siddha rupa pastimes. Srila Prabhupada further emphasizes that the philosophy underlying how one should follow Lord Chaitanya and remembers Krishna's pastimes, it's a difficult subject matter. This is the purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 25th chapter, 271 verse. It's a different subject, difficult subject matter. No wonder then the neophyte devotee easily stumble on the path of trying to understand them. However, the books of 6 Goswamis have carefully enumerated this philosophy for our benefit, and we should study them. Maharaj, we are studying your guidelines. That is more enlivening also. So, we should be encouraged by reading the insights that are now given in the condensed form, and condensed form is also nectarian. And it is good for our sadhak form to be matured. That's why we are pursuing these studies, that we do not become pitful to the sahajiya or independent thinking without the reference of our predecessor acharyas. Srila Prabhupada's purport to the essence of Vaishnava literature like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita are a summary of the Goswami's books. If devotees carefully study Srila Prabhupada's teachings, they will see that he has chalked out the path from the beginning of regulated devotion through the spontaneous devotion onto ecstatic and finally loving devotion. It just requires a studious and faithful eye to recognize that. But if devotees are lazy, all the devotees connected with Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books that have been translated, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep, fall down, and from their position. Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain the eternal blissful life of transcendental pleasure. This has been also the purport of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 25th chapter, 278th verse. A final note on caution: while ISKCON Vaishnavas have regulated devotional service as their common external practice, the internal mood of true Raganuga Bhakta may occasionally set them apart from or bring them to the notice of regulated devotees. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur wants regulated devotees to respect the inspiration of their spontaneous companions. He says, Vaida Bhakta Jane, Kabhu Raganuga Jane na. Regulated devotees cannot understand spontaneous devotees. This is said in Prakrita Rasa Satadushani, 61st verse of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Satadushani, hundreds of dushan means the characters which are not applicable to the pure devotion of Raganuga side. So Vaishnava Satadushani. A Vaishnava must explore and be aware of 100 pitfalls. Because the inspiration of the regulated and spontaneous devotees differ, it is understandable that in their interactions, different perspective on some devotional topic will merge. At such times, neither class of devotees should try to convince or deride the other. A respect for every devotional conviction is inherent in mature Vaishnava conduct. Additionally, regulated devotees should not try to artificially become spontaneous practitioners. As long as one's inspiration is faith in scripture, there is no question of Raganuga, which necessitates at least some measure of genuine greed. And the greed will not rise. Greed will not arise by philosophical arguments or fidelity to regulations. It comes by submissively hearing about Krishna in Vrindavan from scriptures or Rasik Vaishnavas. When a strong desire to taste the service mood of the Brajvasis stirs a devotee's heart, then greed has truly appeared. As long as the devotee's inspiration for service is firmly rooted in the scriptures, it is said that his devotion remains mixed with sentiments of family identity, of family fidelity in the urban life with the Supreme Lord as his object of affection. Such devotion cannot bring one to Krishna in Vrindavan. So those who are not Brijvasis and enter in Vrindavan, we bring our own bad habits which are polluting the atmosphere of Brajvasis. I gave you an example. you know. The soft-hearted Thakurdas Baba from my hometown told me this when he gave me 4 cows in donation for the Bharatpur orphanage. And when I went to obtain the cows in the market, they were also Muslims cooking meat there. So I was very disturbed. And I asked Baba, how come it is there in Govardhan, our sacred place, that these activities are going on? And he immediately, it is not their fault. It's the fault of our immaturity that is coming along with us. We bring in and introduce so many unwanted practices in Brajadam that pollutes. So we have to change the vision. We can't find fault with the Brajavasis. Even though they are of Muslim tribe or whatever, you never know who is a real Brajavasi. And therefore, we are supposed to follow in the footsteps of our predecessor acharyas who established the system in Vrindavan. They were sent by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not to excavate the place of pastime, but also to excavate the pitfalls and fill up with guidelines, so we may not fall trap into the holy dham. So the concluding remarks are that additionally, regulated devotees should not try to artificially become spontaneous practitioners. As long as one's inspiration is faith in scriptures, there is no question of raganuga, which necessitates at least some measure of genuine greed, and the greed will not arise by philosophical arguments or fidelity to regulations. It comes by submissively hearing about Krishna in Vrindavan from the scriptures or Rasika Vaishnavas. There are Rasika Vaishnavas, but they should be in the line of disciplic succession which suits ours. We should not go out of our line of succession. When strong desire to taste the service moods of Brajavasis stirs a devotee's heart, then greed has fully appeared. As long as the devotee's inspiration for service is firmly rooted in the scriptures, it is said that his devotion remains mixed with sentiments of family fidelity in urban life, with the Supreme Lord as his object of affection. Such devotion cannot bring one to Krishna in Vrindavan. So in this chapter, the author says, I have tried to summarize the deviations that arise when conditioned souls contract and actually practice spontaneous devotional service. As Srila Prabhupada said, how one follows Lord Chaitanya and remembers Krishna's pastime is a difficult subject matter. Therefore, devotees must exercise the utmost care. For devotees who are attracted to Vraja Bhakti and yet are too cautious to leave the path of regulated devotional service, their destination to Vraja is also assured. When purified of material contamination, they will cross beyond the jurisdiction of the matter and takes up Raganuga Bhakti at the stage of ecstasy or bhav. How this is the safe approach and one preferred by our Acharya will be described in the following chapter, that is last chapter. So our efforts to read our contemporary realized devotees as well as Pradeshar Brijvasis, Rupa Goswami, who left so much literature for us to read. It is our humble duty to study them. And that's how we have resumed where we have stopped. And this study will be very beneficial for the sadhaks who are desirous to, dive deep into the regulated sadhana, making it perfect simultaneously, then cultivating the desire to enter into Raganuga Bhakti. So any question, comments? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
First one, you mentioned people who dress as gopis as being Prakrita Sahajas, but the ones that actually dress as Krishna, they are there are ones also that dress as Krishna, so they're actually Mayavadis, aren't they?
Boil. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. So the ones in Vrindavan that dress as Krishna, they're actually Mayavadis rather than Sahajis, aren't they?
Yes, we have to stick to our. There are many shops to sell their products.
Okay. There are sometimes some Krishnas coming to ISKCON Vrindavan as well. Sometimes we see someone walking around with the flute and the ankle bells. And...
They are Sahajis, but we do not associate with them.
Yeah.
Anybody can come.
They're also Mayavadis when they try and be Krishna, right?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. My other question is, at one of our acharyas, I think, put out a Astakaliya Chaitanya Lila, but that's kind of a shortcut rather than trying to study all of our acharya's books, right?
Even the listener may not be inspired to dive deep into the Astakaliya Lila.
Yeah, I wasn't inspired. I had it somewhere, but I don't keep reading it because I'm not. Yeah. Only it's nice to meditate on the Gora Arti that Bhakti
That's
wrote. That we're on the bank of the Janvi River.
Yeah.
All right. As Sitaraja Prabhu's comments today are more or less just summarizing what you've already said, Guru Maharaj. He hasn't got any questions today.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Madhavi is up.
With some simply Medhavi, Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, the point for me which really struck, of course, it is describing what all things that we should be careful about. But at the end, when Maharaj wrote about how the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the sadhaka rupa and how it then intertwines into the pastimes of Krishna. For that, like we have always said that there is no difference between the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu but this clearly now illustrates how both are very much complementary to each other.
That's
and understanding that we have to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions as to how we actually act as devotees. When I say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciples who have written so many books and all the things, so that we follow their instructions and do our activities properly in our sadhana bhakti to become eligible, to become more perfect in our ways, so that we can then develop that greed that Maharaj has so very nicely explained throughout the book. I just thought I'll make a comment.
That's correct. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has Radha Krishna nahi anya. So the enactment of the pastime in a single body with the sentiments of Srimati Radharani to taste the nectar that she derives. Krishna wants to taste. So that the internal reasons you can see, the three internal reasons why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. These internal reasons are not known by the common practitioners. They forget. Isn't it? So, a studious devotee will go into the internal reasons which will be relishment of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, mood. And such examples are given in front of the, say, Jagannath Rath Yatra, internal mood of separation and all this. These are relishable by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and only two intimate devotees were able to decipher it. That's Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai. So the rest of them is a matter of caution to understand. You follow?
Yes, Maharaj.
So the Leela is identical. There is no doubt. But at the same time, at what level we have to practice. That example is also given by our Madhavendra Puri. At the last time, towards the end, he was completely in a very desolate, painful situation of separation. And Ramachandra Puri gave a false advice to him, right? That disturbed the mood and mission. So he was told to move out. He was misunderstanding. So the pitfalls are there, and if we are mindful of pitfalls, then we will be able to ride smoothly. Slow but steady wins the race, Prabhu. We have yet to study more of our Goswami literatures. And Shivaram Maharaj is expressing so many inclusions of the Goswami literature. He has studied well in our comparison, better than anybody. So therefore we are inclined to study.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Good idea. Haribol?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes. So, as you said, we first practice our sadhana bhakti properly, and at the same time we read the Goswami's books to get our understanding of what our ultimate position should be, and then transition when we become perfect.
Yes, but we cannot rush. There are so many, warning signs will be there in order to trade in or traverse to the path safely. Cautions are needed at every time of our spiritual progress. If we think that, oh, it is spontaneous bhakti, it will happen automatically, I don't have to be careful about the pitfalls. That is the wrong attitude. You can see contemporary of today, Shivaram Maharaj actually wrote these two books after, not before. See, this book was written and it was published in 2015. Okay? 2015. And other books have been also written afterwards. So one has to be very careful and preparing the foundation first before walking on that path of stringent internal devotional service. Suppose you think you have been trained to fly airplane, but yet the plane is equipped with an autopilot, right? But that doesn't mean that autopilot can do everything. It can do something. But you have to be always remain vigilant, even though it is going on autopilot. All right?
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, then the next book, Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, was also, he writes in the introduction to that was also written after some of the others.
Yeah, there are further, talks and better explained.
Yeah, he's talking there about the qualification for, how to gain the qualification for Raganuga Bhakti.
Yes. All right.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna very much.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.